Do you know how much money you're spending and even wasting in the cloud? In this video, I will show you how to set up visibility into your accounts, enable cost optimization tools, and configure them to make them your own. We'll enable key cost management tools like AWS Cost Explorer billing views, Cost Optimization Hub, and Compute Optimizer. And you'll learn how to customize these for your specific needs. We'll demonstrate the setup process, including common errors and their solutions. By the end of the video, you'll have all the data at your fingertips to ensure your account is optimized and you'll have more money in your pocket. Let's kick off with enabling the new Cost Explorer billing views. This feature allows you to create custom filtered views across your AWS usage data, making it easier to manage costs across different accounts or applications. For example, if you have applications split across 3 accounts, dev, test, and prod, you want to see all the spend together rather than jumping across to each account. Adding it all up in your head, which would be a nightmare. This first setup you must not skip. As billing views are set up as a resource, we have to enable Resource Access Manager. This is a super simple step, but we see many people forget to do this and get stuck. Let's go to Resource Access Manager. In here, we're going to set it up so that you can actually use your billing views. Once clicking in there, we're going to go down to the left-hand side of the screen and click on Settings. All we need to do is enable sharing with our organization, and that's it. Now that's done, let's go and set up our billing view in our payer account and then share it with a linked account that previously did not have access to see their spend. Let's go to the billing console. From the left-hand side, we can click on Primary View, drop down, click Create Billing View. We're gonna use accounts for this setup, so ones that are connected, for example, Steph's accounts, and we're gonna give it that name. Once we've done this, we can go to the right-hand side and click Create. No! Just kidding. This is an error we see many customers get if they have an organization account older than 2023. To fix this, you'll need to use a specific script to move your resources over to the new IAM permissions. The link is in the description below, but let me show you now. This documentation will show you how to migrate your scripts over from the 2023 version so that you can take advantage of those billing views. Once you have run that script, you can continue on with the setup. For this one, I have chosen an account which has the new IAM roles. So we're going to click on that Create Billing View, choose Accounts again, and choose my different accounts I want to group together. Give it a name, and then click on Create. Now we have this, we're going to share this billing view with the other linked account. For this, I'm going to copy the ARN for later, and then scroll to below and click Share. I'm going to select the linked account I want to share it to and click Share. Well done! You have made your first billing view. Now let's go to the account we shared it with and see what the access looks like. By the way, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to help. Now we are in our linked account, so let's go see what we can see in Cost Explorer. We'll go to our billing and cost management portal. No! Okay. For those that know about AWS account permissions, you might be shouting at the screen, "Steph, you need to give your role permissions to the billing view resource." Of course. Let's use the ARN we copied earlier and allow access to this resource. To fix this, we need to go to IAM. We can create inline policy, and luckily, we have an IAM policy that has everything you need to enable cost billing views. This will be in the link below. Copy this and paste it into the JSON option. Remember that ARN we copied earlier? This is where you're going to paste it to make it specific to that resource. So once you drop it in there, click Next, and then give your policy a name. Click Create Policy. Let's go see if it worked. And there we go. We can see the spend for multiple accounts in one place. So on the right-hand side, we can say linked account as our group option when in Cost Explorer. And we can see both accounts worth of spend. So this means that you can see everything grouped together. We can even break down across different services so you can see the true spend of your application. Now you can see how much you are spending on select accounts. You can also use billing views to group your spend by resource tag. This is useful if you have multiple applications in one account. These views will enable you to see all your costs in one place and the true spend of your project or application. Let's move on to some quick steps to enable Cost Optimization Hub and Compute Optimizer. These will take under 30 seconds to enable and could mean big savings. In our billing console, we go on the left-hand side for Cost Management Preferences, click on Cost Optimization Hub, and enable Cost Optimization Hub. Enable it for all member accounts and account discount visibility. Save preferences. Straight over to Compute Optimizer, we'll search for it. In here, click Get Started and opt in. And it's as easy as that. These will take about 30 hours to load the initial data and get a recommendation. While you wait, why not give this video a like? Now we have enabled these, let's see how you can start using Cost Optimization Hub. You can find Cost Optimization Hub on the left-hand side of your billing console. Straight away, we can see how much we can save in this account, which is a lot, which is a nice surprise. We've shown this donut view, which is broken down by different resource types, so you can prioritize which kind of resources you want to optimize. But these aren't the only views. You can also change to look at things like your AWS account. So by going on the top left-hand corner, you can choose that in the drop-down and then maybe focus on which account has the most savings, and you could target your actions there. You can also change it to something like effort, seeing how hard it is to actually make these savings. Sometimes you have really low-hanging fruit for things like deleting or small changes, but some might have more effort, such as a migration. You can also view this in a table format if you don't love the diagram. But let's go into the opportunities themselves. Straight away, we can see all of the resources we can optimize. Now, the reason that Cost Optimization Hub is good is because these resources can have multiple opportunities for savings, but they can't all happen at once. You can't stop something, migrate it, and move it to Graviton. Cost Optimization Hub will prioritize the most effective savings for you. In the screen, you can see all the different types of resources, such as resource information, what the resource optimization is, and you can even drill down and see which recommendation actions apply to this one. So if we click on one of the resources, you can hit the drop down and you can see maybe you could stop a resource or move it to Graviton. And if you change the opportunity, it will also change the savings. But if you also wanted to see all of the recommendations at once, you can just go to the toggle on the top right-hand corner, untick that, and you'll see everything at once. To see where the recommendation comes from, you can go directly to Compute Optimizer from the description. I want to focus on this specific account, so I'm going to click on the search field and click on my linked account ID. From here, I can click into any of my recommendations and see where this data comes from. For example, in this RDS instance, I can go to the console or Compute Optimizer. From here, I can see that my RDS instance has some IO1 storage type and it has too many provisioned IOPS, which is actually wasting $1,000 a month. If I scroll down, I can also see some comparison graphs looking at my read and write operations. You can change these statistics to be the maximum or an average for a better look-back period. Great, let's take a step back and look at Compute Optimizer from the homepage. From here, we can see all of the recommendation savings from Compute Optimizer. We can also see the potential performance risk that these resources have. There are two main types of savings, right-sizing and idle savings. At the bottom, you can see all the different resource types and a breakdown of the savings there. Let's kick off with looking at idle resources first. If we go to the left-hand side of the screen, we can click on idle resources and see a list of these. For example, we have an EBS volume that's wasting $38 a month, not doing anything. If we click into that, we can see that this volume is idle and also the idle criteria. So this is criteria that states why we think this is idle, and you can delete it. You can use this to judge against your own criteria. We'll also provide a recommended action. So for example, create a snapshot and consider deleting this volume. Or we also have right sizing. So moving on to the other type of recommendation. For example, we can move the IO1 to IO2BX. In here, we can also see the potential savings. Let's move on to looking at EC2 instances. Clicking on that on the left-hand side, we can see our different instances and whether they are over-provisioned, under-provisioned, or correctly provisioned. But let's focus on over-provision so we can save some money. From here, we can see the current option we have of our instance type, an M5 large, and some different resource types that could save us some money that more match our utilization. We can see the saving as well as the performance risk and the migration effort. This first option we have has an architectural difference, it's Graviton, so it has a higher effort level. You can also get rid of any Graviton options if your application doesn't work with it. If you want to compare what this will do to your application, you can scroll down and see things like CPU and memory. By clicking on these different lines, you can compare whether it's going to have a big performance issue or not. This is very handy to see how your application will actually react. Just a note, if you have your memory configuration for CloudWatch, this will pull it into Compute Optimizer. If you don't, you won't have a memory metric. Let's move on to Lambda functions. Yes, you can save money on Lambda functions. In this example, we have too much memory configured. This very small change will end up lowering your cost, but think of doing this at scale. We looked at RDS databases earlier, but you can also save money by looking at the instance type. For example, in here, we're currently on a R5. We could move to an I and make a saving. Again, you can do these comparison metrics about your current CPU utilization and what the option would give you, so you can be confident in your change. But what if you want to configure Compute Optimizer specifically to your use case? In the last part of the video, I will show you 3 ways you can configure Compute Optimizer to get the most savings on your resources. The first thing you can configure is your preferences. So this is where it will help you make accurate decisions for your recommendation. On the left-hand side, we click right sizing, and then we can go over and select edit to create these configurations. The first is the regions you want to focus on. So only choose regions that you actually care about getting recommendations for. So I've unticked some that I don't really utilize. Next, I can look at my preferred instance types. So if you only want recommendations to point towards certain instance types, you can make this filter here. For example, if I only want to look at M instance types, I really want to focus on that style, I can choose the ones that are applicable to me. This is great if you've bought an instance savings plan and you just want to have savings and recommendations on this family. Finally, we can look at our utilization. So here we can be a bit more aggressive with our savings by clicking on max savings to make sure that the threshold is a bit lower when it comes to our CPU. Or if you want to focus on performance, we can be a bit softer with these recommendations and click max performance. A balance will give you a break between the two. Once you've chosen this, you can do the same thing with your memory. So if you want to leave a little bit more or less headroom, you can make the decision here. Once you're happy with these, click next, double check everything and save these preferences. The second way you configure it is looking at your look back period. Now, I will warn you, this is a paid feature, so you should decide which accounts you want to enable it for. But in here, you can change your look back to be from 14 days to 93 days. This is if you have a longer application window and you want to compare more metrics over time. You do this per region. So choose which region you would like and then save to activate it. The final and third way to configure is looking at external metrics ingestion. So this is if you have any third parties that are doing metrics for you. For this, you can edit and you'll be able to see which of our third parties you can easily connect to with Compute Optimizer to enhance the decisions that it gives you, such as Datadog, Dynatrace, Insta, and New Relic. Once you've chosen one of these, hit enable and you'll be good to go. I hope you have enjoyed learning all about the optimization tools available for you to try for free. Try these configurations in your account and see what works best for you. Please subscribe to AWS Developers for more videos like this one. I'll see you next time.